Hi, I'm Sharon Knight. I'm President and CEO of Hope Communities, and we're doing another big experiment today. We are doing our Facebook Live show from my house. So, this is our building community check in that we've been doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 o'clock. Since we've been a nonprofit in the organization for nearly 40 years, we have provided housing, educational programs, and support services for residents of our properties and also the broader community. Part of what we've done is build community. And so during this virus period and when people are quarantined at home, we've thought it's really important to try to check in with you because we know there are some people who are isolated and alone, and that's not really a great feeling. So we want you to know that somebody's there for you, someone's checking in. We are usually telling you a little bit about the virus. I'm going to really keep that part short today. We do know that today was the day that Governor Polis said some businesses could start easing back into their normal regulations and their normal procedures for business, somewhat normal, because he's saying maybe 60% of business, and also with many regulations, with social distancing, of course, with masks, with lots of precautions. Now in Denver, the mayor still had us waiting for at least another week before we had businesses start going again. And that makes a lot of sense because there's such density of people in this city. And so we've really got to try to be as safe as possible. And so we're going to wait a little bit more in Denver, except for essential businesses, of course. So one of the things that we expect Denver's mayor to say next week is that everyone should wear masks out in public. There are several cities around the state that have already mandated masks and people can get tickets for not wearing them. I know it's coming. There are some stores already. Costco requires people to wear masks. Some of the airlines are going to be requiring people to wear masks. I think we should just do it. I mean, it's much safer for everybody around. I know it's somewhat irritating, and sometimes when you're out running or walking, it's a little bit hot, but it's safe, and we need to take care of each other, even if you're not that concerned about yourself because you're feeling very strong and vital. It's really important because you never know if you have those symptoms or not. So please think about the masks. I have been incredibly pleased because I put out a request for masks for our residents. We'd like all of our residents to at least have one mask. And I've had several people who have said that they will help us with those. So in the coming weeks, we should have masks to pass out if you don't have one. So please let us know. Now today, as I said, I'm just going to focus mostly on how we work with our family during quarantine. I want to show some things about cooking, which is why I'm at my house in my kitchen. But first to say, how do we talk to our kids about the virus? It's a scary time for a lot of people. We can't do the things that we want to do. It's sad. We can't be with our friends all the time. And kids are really not sure how to handle this in many cases. So I think what I would recommend and what the experts recommend is that we provide information for our kids that is accurate. If they're old enough, there are so many strange things on social media and on the internet. You have to really help direct them to the appropriate places for information. And also, even if they know about the virus, they're still going to be sad sometimes. They're going to break down. And it's not just for kids either. I mean, adults. I myself had a tough day yesterday. And even though I'm really strong and really resilient, I just broke down crying. Now, that's happening to friends around town. I know it is. And so as adults, we can often deal with that. Kids may not understand how to deal with that, and they may be looking to us as role models. So really want to recommend to the parents out there that if you have a tough day like that, just let it happen and let them know why you're sad, and maybe even have an idea of what could make you feel better. Like, I'm really sad today, honey. I miss my work. I miss my friends. Why don't we take a walk? Or can we watch a funny movie for a while? And then also help them to deal with their emotions, especially if kids are young. You may want to come up with something like an emotion wheel so that they can describe. This is a great time for you to talk about emotions, and, I'm happy today, or I'm really scared today because I don't know what's going to happen with this virus. So doing something like that. And sometimes kids are more visual. So there's a lot of things online like this, like feeling charts, like I feel sick, I feel scared, I'm frustrated. So all of those things that we might be able to use as tools to help our kids to understand what's going on with them, and to help them understand that it's normal. I mean, it's normal for all of us to have feelings. And if we hold it down too much, if we suppress it, it's going to come out somehow at some point. And so it's so much better to just talk things through. And I think, I've said this to the adults in the audience, and I think it's really important for kids too. Let's limit how much we watch the news. It's very, while the news is usually accurate, it really pushes emotion, the emotion of the situation, and it can get people really worked up. And so we want to be careful not to watch the news too much. And of course, we've also talked about having a regular routine. Kids need a routine, and we can't be too strict, but somewhat of a routine. And I think we could come up with some really innovative ways to help kids to connect with the people that they're missing. As we start into this safer at home phase, we still don't want a lot of interaction. So we can't necessarily say now that we're safer at home, you're going to be able to go play with your friends, because that's just not true. We are going to be able to do more things in the community, but still we have to have that social distance. And so, experiment more with the conference calling with friends and grandparents and things like that. So help them to feel connected in some way. And we've got to also just have some fun things. We have to be healthy, of course. So we've talked about exercise, talking about our emotions, getting that out, helping kids to feel like they're in control. What are the things that they can do to help them stay safer? Washing hands, wearing their mask when they go out, taking precautions. So if they can be part of that process, maybe they feel like they have a little bit more control. And, most of us want control over our lives, whether we're adults or kids. So if we can do that, that'll be great. And then I also think nutrition. I'm going to do some of these cooking things for you, some examples of some easy, fun things that you can do with kids. And I'm not going to be able to cook everything right here with you, but I'll go over a few things. And then I will have a document that has some recipes in it for parents to get later on, so that you feel like you can actually be successful with these things. And one of the things that I think is really, I'm trying to do also, not only to make things easy, but I'm trying to look at some recipes that people could make if they were buying food with their SNAP EBT card, if they were WIC recipients, if they were getting food baskets that we are delivering. All of those types of supports for food really focus on having healthy food, having fresh food. And I am always a proponent of making food versus getting something that was already made, because it's healthier, it tastes better, it's just better for you in so many ways. And you can use some hacks and some tips so that it's not too time consuming, and you can integrate some other things into the cooking, like math and art and things like that, by designing. So there's different things that you can do. So I'm going to focus. I know I only have 20 minutes left, but I'm going to focus on a few things. One of the things that I'm going to break it into breakfast, lunch, and dinner recipes, and I will be going in and out of the screen a little bit, so please pardon that. And I'm going to start right now by heating up one of my tortillas. So one of the things that we are going to make is a breakfast burrito. And what I like to do is to soften the tortilla a little bit. And I use the microwave again. It's a hack. It makes it really quick for like 20 seconds just to soften it a little bit so that it rolls really well. And I actually like to make potatoes that are like homemade hash fries. Hash browns. So I will take if you take like 4 medium potatoes, pierce them, put them in the microwave for about 8 minutes. They're not done, but they're al dente. And then if you dice them and put them in a skillet with a little bit of oil and some green peppers and maybe jalapeno if you like those, you can, and some onions maybe with some spices. You can make a really nice potato that goes in there. Now these peppers, whether it's jalapeno or serrano, are pretty spicy, so you don't need very much. And just as a precaution, if your kids are helping you do this, and I hope that they do help you do it, don't let them touch their eyes after they touch those peppers because they're pretty darn hot. So I'm going to grab this tortilla. So it's warm, it's just a little bit pliable to make it easier to fold. I've got some potatoes I'm going to put in and some eggs. So what I do, I put a little bit of potato, a little bit of egg in the middle. I put a little bit of cheese in here. And if you want to, you can use bacon, or you can use sausage, or you don't need any of those things. I made some bacon ahead of time, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of that in there. If you think about kind of one potato and then one egg and even one strip of bacon, then you fold the tortillas in and then you roll them so that you have this nice little roll. So you can make these, you can put salsa on them. Sometimes kids just like to walk around and eat them, but they can custom make whatever they want, so easy. The other thing about this is that you can make a bunch of these up ahead of time, roll them up in saran wrap, and you can actually put them in the freezer. So then when you are ready, you can just take them out and pop them in the microwave for, I don't know how long, a couple minutes maybe on a warm, not cook of course, to defrost them, then to warm them, and you can just eat them right away. So if you have a really busy morning, that's a really great way to get something going. Now we're also going to make some parfait. Now your kids will love this, and even your youngest kids can do it. This is just to make a fancy little Sunday-like dish. So I like to use plain yogurt or vanilla yogurt, but I'm just kind of a purist. Some people will like to use other types of fruit. So we're just going to layer yogurt with some fresh berries and some granola or some kind of cereal. So I had a special on raspberries today, and then I got some granola. So you can see how you can just go back and forth, making lots of layers like this. Even a 4-year-old can do this with you, and they just love to be helpers. So think about doing that. As I said, I am not going to be able to do every little thing, but you can see how the layers are kind of pretty, and it's also very, very healthy. Now for lunch, some of the things we're going to do is we're going to do some quesadillas. Those are really easy to do. I'm going to use tortilla, about a 1/4 cup of cheese, and actually I'm just going to put a little bit more. Kind of depends how much cheese you want in there. So about a quarter cup that we spread around. I am going to use green chilies, mild green chilies, because I really love those, and they're not too hot for kids, but they're spicy enough to make kids like them, usually. But you can also, this is a fun thing for kids to do, and I put about half a can in here just because I said I really like these, and just spread them out. So you can do, that could be it, and you can put the cover on, or you could put all kinds of things. You could put shredded chicken, you could put beef, you could put really shredded like red bell peppers, or some other kinds of vegetables that your kids really like. So let them go crazy and design something so that they feel like it's their personal thing. And then we're just going to put it, you can put it in the oven, but I'm going to put it in a skillet because I like to get it brown on the outside. So I'll check on that in just a minute. One of the other things that I think is fun to make with kids is personal pizzas. So some people use egg muffin, they use, these muffins. You know, one of these muffins, so that have nooks and crannies, the English muffins, and they take them apart and they put sauce on them and so forth. I actually also really like to use regular pizza dough. So if you go to the store, you can buy pizza crust like this, and if you open it up, there's a flat piece. It almost looks like when you buy crescent rolls. If you break that into 4 pieces, you can kind of roll it up and then roll it out into 4 circles. Then you can just use regular tomato sauce and put mozzarella cheese. So I think if you break that up into 4 pieces, I think that about half a cup of sauce, and then if you like lots of cheese, maybe half a cup of cheese. Mozzarella is really great in this. And then you can put anything on it. I personally love like Canadian bacon pineapple, but you could put sausage, you could put pepperoni, you could just put vegetables, or some kids just want cheese. So it's a really easy thing. And sometimes if you have several kids, one of the things I like to do is to actually have them kind of have a competition. So you can do that with the burritos, and I did breakfast burritos, but you can do those for lunch too, and you could put lots of cool things inside. It could be beans, it could be rice, it could be different meats and different vegetables. And so there's lots of fun things that you could do with that. So you could have competitions with your kids for that too. And then one of the things that I think is really good is grilled cheese, sometimes grilled ham and cheese, something like that, so that your kids are getting that dairy, which is important, using a whole wheat, or like I love the oat brand bread. So they get the whole wheats or the whole grains there. And then sometimes even putting like tomato in. So ham, cheese, and tomato could be a fun thing to do. Okay, so I've got my quesadilla here. And if you use a pizza roller or a knife, you can maybe hear the crunch. Here's where you start talking about fractions. Okay, we've got half here. And then we're going to cut it again, and we've got quarters. And you can go on and on in talking about what you have. And these are just so delicious and so darn easy. They're done, as you saw, in just a couple of minutes. So they're really good. I'm gonna, yep, really, really good. So hope you get a chance to do that one. Let me talk a little bit about some dinner things that you can do. There's a recipe that was actually in the WIC cookbook. So there's some really good sources online. WIC cookbook is one of them. And it is for chicken. And what they do is they suggest using chicken legs or chicken breasts. And so I did some of that. I got some ready. You wash the chicken and then you dry it off and then you soak it in milk for a bit. So I will show you how to do that in just 1 second. So I put some in the oven already, and we may be able to see it by the end. But these pieces are just soaking in milk. And by the way, I didn't mention this, but I think everyone watching knows before we get going, you have to really wash your hands. Like everybody has to wash your hands. So they suggest putting it in milk and then dropping it into a plastic bag that has crushed up cornflakes. Now, cornflakes, as you know, are pretty darn healthy. Kids love them usually. So I also, when you get a bag like this, I also think it's, if somebody is feeling a little bit frustrated or sad, you put this in there and just let them hang on to it. So let them just crush those babies. This cornflakes also has some spices in there, a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of garlic, salt and pepper. So you're simply going to drop the chicken pieces in there, and then kids like to do this too. Make sure it's nicely sealed, and just, you know, move it all around like that. And then you are going to put these in a baking pan, and they suggest putting them in the fridge for an hour. I think it's so that the cornflakes actually stick to the body of the chicken. And then when you put them in the oven at about 380 to 400 degrees, and you cover that with tin foil, it takes about 40 minutes to cook, but these were skinless chickens so that it's a little bit healthier. And when it does cook, the cornflakes become crispy. So it's kind of like a crispy skin that has some good flavor, but is really, that kids really enjoy. It just has a really nice flavor for it. I have a couple of other quick things to talk about that are meals for us. One is a manicotti dish. And so I cooked some noodles ahead of time just to explain this to you. What we do is that we put a little bit of tomato sauce in the bottom of the pan. I cooked noodles ahead of time. When you see these, and you may not buy manicotti all the time, but when I've gone to the store, manicotti is actually there. A lot of times spaghetti and egg noodles and things like that are not there, but the manicotti is there. And when you get them, they're round and they're hard, probably about 3.5, 4 inches long, and there's a hole in the middle. So when you cook them, you don't want them all the way cooked and mushy. They want to be a little bit al dente. And then there's a mixture of ricotta cheese or cottage cheese with a little bit of egg and some spices in it that you put into the middle. You can do this with a spoon, or if you have something like this, you can just pipe it into the middle so that it kind of fills up. It's kind of fun, you can see it there. And then we're just going to lay it in the pan, and we can put probably like 8 of them in here, and then we will, excuse me. We'll put 8 of them in there, and then we will cover it with sauce and sprinkle it with mozzarella cheese. Put it in the oven for about half an hour, and it should be done for you. And so you might want some Parmesan cheese on there too. So there's a salad I want to show you, 2 of them actually. So one is a vegetable salad, and it is the most delicious thing that I have had in recent recent months. I mean, it's so surprising because it's so simple. This is a Napa cabbage. I've already cut some off, so you can't see it, but it's a beautiful vegetable. And if you take the Napa cabbage and slice it in little small slices like this, and then maybe cut it in half, you've got these beautiful little pieces like this. I can come in a little bit more maybe. Some beautiful little pieces that you can put into a bowl. And I think that you want probably for 4 people, maybe 6 cups. So we're just gonna make little pieces like this and put them in a bowl. And then we're also gonna put grated carrots in the bowl. So the carrots add beautiful color, of course. And so we'll do this, we'll do some grated carrots. We will do some mango. Don't know if you've ever used mango before. Real mango looks like this. And if you peel it, you can start to pull across this kind of a light orange fruit that's super delicious. And put that in, and then we will put our carrots in and put some cilantro in. See, here's some of the mango. Put some cilantro that we just cut up in here. And then take a lime and just squeeze the lime over the salad and a little bit of salt and pepper and mix it up. And that's what the salad is. It's absolutely amazing. So the last thing I'm going to show you is a pasta salad. And again, I'm not going to really make the whole thing for you. But if I made some pasta earlier, like I made rotini because it has a little bit of stiffness to it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cut up tomato. I took cherry tomatoes and just cut them in half. Some pepper, some red onion, and I'm going to dump those in. Some black olives and feta cheese into all of the pasta. And then with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of lemon. And sometimes I also cut up artichoke hearts, but those are a teeny bit more expensive, so may not want to do it. Sometimes you could put chicken in. But if you have these things with the chicken or not, the vegetables and the pasta, it's a beautiful, colorful salad. It's really fresh. And again, kids can personalize the salad so that it has the kind of vegetables that they want and they love in it. So it's just going to be a very pretty salad. I'm going to I don't know if I can show this to you very well, but I'll try to give you a picture of what it's like. It is a really gorgeous, colorful salad. So you can see lots of different colors there. It's fun to eat. So all of these things, even though I did prep ahead of time, are pretty quick. They're very flavorful. They've got fresh spices, fresh food in terms of veggies in them that kids usually really like. So as I said, I will give you some recipes soon. We'll have them online for you to look at, and we're available if you have any questions about how to make these things. But these are really fun things to do with your kids. So let's get them going. Let's get them excited about cooking. And again, it's something that they can do, that they can feel like they're in control because they're taking care of their bodies. They're doing something really healthy. Now, I forgot to talk about our quote of the day. And I think because we're talking about emotions and we're talking about matters of the heart, that I want to focus on a quote by Helen Keller which is the most important things and the most beautiful things cannot be seen and they cannot even be touched. They need to be seen with the heart. So that's something as you're cooking, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of heart there with your family. Let's share that love of food and that creativity that each person can bring to the table, and also that sense of control that we are taking care of our bodies and we are going to be strong and we're going to be resilient through this whole virus. So I hope that you'll be able to do that. One thing we also always do is to talk about a book review. And my friend Lori Hirschfeld-Zeller has done another review for us, and it just sounds great. The book is called A Grain of Wheat, and the author is Grunji Wa Tiango. I'm not sure that I say it correctly, and I'm not sure that she does either in her review, but the author is from Kenya, and he tells a really interesting, complex story that has a love story embedded in it, and he colors it with different things that are happening in Kenya during some pretty tumultuous times. And so it's intriguing and exciting, and Lori suggests that the language is really poetic and it's just enjoyable to read. And as a world traveler, she really felt like this book helped her to understand the nuances and the culture of the environment before she was able to go to Africa. And so I think since we are feeling, many of us are feeling a little bit constrained because we can't go where we want to go, it might be fun to experience another country through the eyes of this Kenyan author. And the first step, of course, is to listen to Lori's preview, which will be up in just a couple of minutes. I sure hope you have a chance to cook this weekend with your family and to get out to talk a little bit about how you're feeling about this pandemic and being out of school for so long and not seeing our friends. Just take a little time and give yourself a break too, because as I said, all of us are going to feel the stress of this at one point or another, and that's okay. We have to feel it, and then we also need to figure out a way to get past that. So my best wishes to you getting past that, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Take care.